In the late 18th century, life in the remote, rural areas of Canada was harsh, lonely, and unforgiving. Lucan was a tiny farming village where everyone knew each other by name. Houses were scattered far apart, surrounded by endless fields and dense forests. At night, darkness would swallow everything, so thick that one could barely see their own hand. The wind would howl through the trees, carrying the whispers of secrets no one dared speak aloud. Into this unforgiving landscape came an Irish family, the Donnellys. Their real names were James Donnelly, Johanna Donnelly, and their 7 children. But soon, the entire village began to whisper a new name, the Black Donnellys. James Donnelly was known for his fiery temper. He argued over land disputes, clashed with neighbors, and faced accusations of horse theft. Fights were common, and violence seemed to follow him like a shadow. In 1857, during one such argument, James struck his neighbor Patrick Farrell with a pitchfork, killing him instantly. The court case that followed terrified the village. No one dared testify. James was sent to jail for a brief period, but eventually returned to Lucan. His presence was enough to spread fear and tension. People began to believe that the Donnellys were more than just a troublesome family. They were dangerous. Whispers filled every corner of the village. People said the Donnellys stole from their neighbors, set fires for revenge, threatened anyone who opposed them, and somehow always slipped past the law. True or not, their reputation had become deadly. Even minor disputes were avoided for fear of angering them. The family's presence created an invisible wall of tension. People avoided eye contact, moved quietly past their property, and whispered prayers for safety. By 1880, fear had turned to desperation. A group of villagers, frustrated with the law's inability to control the Donnellys, formed a secret organization. They called themselves the Vigilance Committee. Their belief was simple, yet chilling. If the law would not act, they would enact justice themselves. And they had chosen a single target, the Donnellys. They watched, they planned, and they waited for the perfect night to strike. That night arrived on February 4th, 1880. The winter wind tore through the village, carrying snow and icy chills. The Donnelly family slept peacefully in their farmhouse, unaware of the danger looming outside. Around 1 a.m., more than 15 masked men silently surrounded the house. In their hands were clubs, axes, and guns. They moved like shadows, each step deliberate and merciless. The door was smashed open. James Donnelly was struck on the head and thrown to the floor. His wife, Johanna, screamed, but was silenced before she could run. Their son, Tom, attempted to flee, but he was struck down as well. Then the attackers set fire to the house. The flames roared through the wooden structure, consuming everything. 4 bodies burned beyond recognition, their faces lost forever to the fire. Only one witness survived, a young son, Will Donnelly, who had not been in the house that night. He later claimed he recognized the voices of the attackers. They were villagers, people he knew, neighbors he had grown up with. But when the court case began, fear ruled over truth. Witnesses changed their statements. Nobody admitted to seeing or hearing anything. All the accused were acquitted. No one faced justice. The silence of the village was deafening. This massacre became one of the most infamous rural tragedies in Canadian history. It was not just the fire or the killings, but the collective complicity of an entire village. The truth was known, yet nobody dared speak it aloud. The story of the Black Donnellys became more than history, it became legend. As years passed, strange tales began to circulate. People claimed that on cold winter nights, screams could be heard near the ruins of the old farmhouse. The smell of burning wood lingered in the air, though the fire had long since died.
Some even reported seeing a shadow of a woman standing silently in front of the burned remains, staring into the darkness with hollow eyes. Children whispered about her in hushed voices, warning each other not to go near the ruins after sunset. The psychological horror of the story is deeper than any ghost or monster. It is in the reality that an entire community can come together to destroy a family and then remain silent. There is no remorse, no confession, no justice, only silence. The weight of that silence is what haunts the village to this day. Stories of the Donnellys spread beyond Lucan. Travelers passing through would hear whispers at inns and taverns. Some reported seeing the burnt farmhouse from a distance, claiming they felt a strange, chilling presence. The legend grew, twisted with fear, imagination, and time. Each retelling added details until the Black Donnellys were no longer just a family. They were a symbol of terror, injustice, and human cruelty. Historians later uncovered documents showing the relentless tension in Lucan before the massacre. Land disputes, petty thefts, and minor fights had escalated, creating an environment where vengeance seemed acceptable. Yet no official record could capture the fear in the villagers' hearts or the terror that lived in the shadows. The real horror was the knowledge that ordinary people could commit extraordinary cruelty when united by fear and anger. Even today, the story serves as a chilling reminder. Ghosts may not be real, but the consequences of fear, hatred, and collective violence are very real. Sometimes the most terrifying thing is not what you see, but what people choose to ignore. The silence after such a horror speaks louder than any scream. And that silence is the scariest horror of all.